I wanted to talk about OAL's review of rulemaking files and the necessity standard. As you may be aware, California's Office of Administrative Law, the OAL, unless there's a statutory exemption, is required to review rulemaking files developed by executive branch state agencies when those agencies adopt, amend, or repeal a regulation. Under California's Administrative Procedure Act, the APA, which is found in California's Government Code, there are six statutory standards used by OAL to evaluate regulations. And these six statutory standards that OAL uses are necessity, authority, clarity, consistency, reference, and non-duplication. Today, we're talking about necessity, which is basically demonstrating the need for the regulation by substantial evidence. Now, OAL may not substitute its judgment for that of the rulemaking agency with regard to the substantive content of the regulation. Also, OAL has 30 working days in which to review the rulemaking record to determine whether it demonstrates that the rulemaking agency satisfied the procedural requirements of California's APA. So let's take a little more detailed look at the necessity standard. First, what is necessity? It means the record of the rulemaking proceeding demonstrates by substantial evidence the need for a regulation to effectuate the purpose of the statute, the court decision, or other provision of law that the regulation implements, interprets, or makes specific, taking into account the totality of the record. Now, failure to meet this statutory standard is the second most common basis for OAL to reject a regulation. OAL has also adopted a series of regulations in Title I of the California Code of Regulations, CCR. So Title I of the CCR, Section 10, concerns necessity and provides that in reviewing the rulemaking record for compliance with the APA, OAL cannot dispute the decision of a rulemaking agency to adopt a particular regulatory provision when the information provided as required is also adequate to support one or more alternative conclusions. In addition, in order to meet the necessity standard of Government Code Section 11349.1, the record of the rulemaking proceeding has to include, at a minimum, a statement of the specific purpose of each adoption, amendment, or repeal, and information explaining why each provision of the adopted regulation is required to carry out the described purpose of that specific provision. The explanatory information could include facts, studies, or expert opinion. When the explanation is based upon policies, conclusions, speculation, or conjecture, the rulemaking record must also include supporting facts, studies, expert opinion, or other information. In addition, there's Title I CCR Section 11. This is titled Necessity in the Context of Mandated Regulations. And it provides that when an agency adopts a regulation which is identical to another statute, regulation, or standard, then the necessity standard of Government Code Section 11349.1 is met if the rulemaking record demonstrates that the specific provisions adopted in the regulation are in fact mandated by a California statute, court decision, or some other applicable law.